Back to the news at 10. Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Markwe Ogun Yusuf. Markwe.
Hello, Ijoma. It's good to see you. Eid Mubarak to all our viewers celebrating today, and welcome to Abuja. Religious leaders in Kaduna State are calling for more cordial relations between Christians and Muslims to end the challenges of ethno-religious conflict. At a lecture held in the state capital, the speakers highlighted the need for religious tolerance. They admonished adherents not to allow themselves to be used in questionable ways by unscrupulous politicians ahead of the 2019 general elections.
Important attributes of leadership.
This gathering of Christians and Muslims serves as a veritable platform for genuine interaction to promote a cordial relationship between both religions in Nigeria. Among those attending the meeting include Christian and Muslim leaders, representatives of youth-based organizations and security agencies. In her presentation, an international conflict management expert from the United Kingdom, Professor Heidi Hadsel, identifies ignorance about the teachings of Islam and Christianity as largely responsible for the various ethno-religious conflicts across the country.
I have come to think that the dialogue between Christians and peoples of other faiths is a central moral challenge that we face, and we need each other to meet the challenge, to live peacefully together.
With the 2019 general elections fast approaching, concern is expressed on people that make inflammatory statements that can worsen the election process.
In Nigeria, that has become a recurrent decimal, but we can deal with it when in our churches and mosques we sit these politicians down and speak to them so that they understand what leadership means.
Some of the politicians who use hate speeches, or some of the preachers of either Christianity or Islam who use hate speeches and dangerous speeches in their preachings, they are not representing Islam or Christianity. They are representing themselves. Also, the politicians who do not know the reality of what is happening in the world are the ones who want to manipulate religion into politics.
On the ongoing debate for the restructuring of the country, the cleric says what Nigeria needs is restructuring of the mind and of the ruling class, and for citizens to demand for good governance.
If you have been accountable to the people, you've used the money allocated to your senatorial zone, you've used that money well, let them know that, look, I've done this and I'm willing to do it again. That is a positive use of religion. And let them know that it is because you are either a Muslim or a Christian, you have the fear of God in you, that you are using what is given for the people for the people.
People here are optimistic that the engagement will continue to promote interfaith platforms for religious scholars and leaders, as well as champion the cause of the right to religious freedom in the country.
The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, says about 650 kilometers of road have been rehabilitated across the country by the Buhari administration, while the economy has been improved upon with foreign reserves increasing and inflation coming down. The minister stated this while briefing journalists on the achievement of the present administration in his hometown in Kwara State. He explains that the federal government's infrastructure programs have cut across all the states of the federation, and that the Boko Haram insurgency, which has been a major challenge of the government, has been defeated with their stronghold captured.
Government, we are very confident that we have delivered the deeds of democracy to the Nigerians, and that will be rewarded, in the coming election by your trust and confidence. And like I always say, we are going to win by the grace of God with a larger margin than we won in 2015. There is no one part of Nigeria today where road projects, power projects, water projects, agricultural projects are not going on. We have been able to rehabilitate 650 kilometers of roads. We are able to build a new 750 kilometers of roads all within this administration. And once again, we have good news. that the federal government proactive steps have stopped the killing dramatically. We've decided that rather than put money in the hands of individuals, we are going to put money in infrastructure to benefit as many people as possible.
And the controversy trailing the botched River State by-election is not over yet, as the State Police Command has been explaining the events that led to the suspension of the by-election on August the 18th. The Commissioner of Police, Zaki Ahmed, denied allegations that security officials collaborated with hoodlums to snatch ballot boxes and unleash mayhem. Mr. Ahmed believes that instead of being vilified, the police should be commended for checking a situation that could have degenerated into wanton loss of lives and property.
I want to make it abundantly clear that the police, in conjunction with other security agencies, stoutly stood their grounds and prevented a situation that will have degenerated to wanton destructions of lives and property. Similarly, I wish to emphasize that the police did not at any time collude with any political party to discredit the political process as alleged. It must be emphasized that the timely action of the police in checkmating political thugs prevented the loss of lives.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress is asking the Independent National Electoral Commission to immediately announce the winner of the by-election. The APC chairman in Rivers, Ojukai Flagamakri, said the party will drag the electoral umpire to court if INEC fails to announce the results.
We believe that the INEC is quite informed about the scope of dimension of its powers with regards to the conduct of election. We call on the Commission to immediately conclude the process by announcing the winner of the by-election without any further delay. The result collated by the APC Situation Room from APC agent at the 142 unit of Farga constituency indicates that the APC candidate was leading comfortably. INEC has no option than to announce the result immediately or meet our party in court.
And that's all from Abuja. It's back to you, Ijoma.
Thanks a lot, Mark. The marine settlement in Onitsha area of Anambra will soon wear a new look as the state government has begun demolishing the illegal shanties in the area. The settlement, which has been in existence for over 30 years, has continued to create growing security concerns, and the state government served the residents a quit notice to vacate the area.
This is what the marine settlement in Onitsha area of Anambra State looks like. A cluster of shanties housing over 50,000 people without proper public facilities. And as the growing population becomes difficult to check, crime sets in, causing the governor to order the state's physical planning board and other related government agencies to pull down the illegal settlements. He aims to change the look of the area and return it to its former glory.
This is a continuation of our desire to rid Anambra State of all shanties where all kinds of criminals find abode. And we want to restore to Onitsha the glory that Onitsha has always enjoyed many, many years ago.
As the rubble speak volume of the poor sanitary and living conditions of the people, the governor urges the team to sustain the tempo of clearing out the settlements. From the marine settlement, the team moves to a more critical area at Ugidi along the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway. A swamp boogie machine is deployed to desilt the pit, allowing the flood overflowing the major road to recede.
We try to engineering tactics to be able to drill on the ground to make sure that this water gets to the nearest river here without putting down all the buildings that are
As the Anambra State government commits to securing the lives of the residents and clearing down illegal structures, the people are hopeful that these measures will be beneficial to them in the long run.
To another demolition, and the government of Oyo State is insisting that it followed due process in the partial demolition of the music house belonging to popular musician Yinka Ayefele in Ibadan, the state capital. The state government is also maintaining its earlier position that there was no court order restraining it from carrying out its statutory role in the public interest, adding that the structure contravened the planning laws of the state. But Mr. Yinka Ayefele disagrees, explaining that he got the appropriate approval for the structure 10 years ago.
This is what is left of the music house, the home of Fresh FM radio. The Oyo State government says the structure was demolished because it contravened the planning laws of the state. But controversies continue to trail the demolition. At this meeting, the state government explains its side of the story, insisting the structure exceeds the approved plan and is encroaching on a junction close to the highway.
Having scrutinized the plan, we decided that it was necessary to pay a site inspection along with the officials of the music house. The site inspection was conducted and a lot of anomalies were discovered. This joint inspection was conducted on the 25th of June, 2018.
The owner of the building, Yinka Ayefele, however, disagrees. He claims the approval for the structure was given to him by the state government and that the anomalies raised by the government inspectors who visited the building are already being corrected before the demolition.
They said we should put up another plan for approval, which I told my architect to do. It's not a day job. It's almost done when we got this demolition notice. It was so sad that I sweat, I suffered. I'm in 24 hours pain since I had this accident. I walk around the clock to make sure that I don't beg to put everything together. But unfortunately, this is what I get for all this effort.
The back and forth argument between both parties is still generating reactions on social media. The matter is now before the State High Court, and further hearing on the case has been adjourned till the 12th of September.
Well, we move on to business news, and here's Anne Wilder.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Ijoma. Welcome to Business News and Eid Mubarak to our viewers. U.S. Energy Information Administration says that it expects oil exports revenue from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries to rise to $736 billion, and that should happen this year. According to the EIA's latest short-term energy outlook report, the amount is 30% higher than $567 billion, which was earned last year. The U.S. Energy Department has attributed this projected increase in OPEC's earnings this year to higher annual crude oil price forecast, despite expectations of lower output. In the meantime, the EIA expects OPEC revenue for 2019 to slip to around $719 billion on lower crude oil price forecast. South Africa's Shoprite is reporting a surprise 3.8% fall in annual earnings, citing a currency devaluation in Angola and lackluster trading in other offshore markets. Africa's biggest grocery store chain reported a headline earnings per share of 968.7 cents in the year ended July. The decline trims expectations to 4.8 rands per share, and Shoprite, which trades in 14 African countries and the Indian Ocean island, says that its local division reported a turnover growth of 5.7%. The British pound has grown stronger by 0.37% at 1.28 against the US dollar. The pound has now pushed the US dollar backwards as the greenback weakness enters a fifth day. The United Kingdom reported a budget surplus of £2.0 billion last month, excluding funds in state-controlled banks, and that was $1.1 billion higher than the median forecast by Thomson Reuters. The budget surplus therefore trims UK's total deficit for the 4 months of its 2019 financial year to £12.8 billion, and that's down 40% over the same period last year. Major global markets around the world already closed Tuesday's session positive across board, with the S&P 500 hitting an all-time high on renewed investors' confidence in the U.S. economy. Meanwhile, some African stock markets, including Nigeria, are closed for the Muslim holidays. Let's see the numbers for today. And with those numbers, we end business news for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I am Anne Nwawodo. It's back to you, Joma.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10, the Nigeria Football Federation begins preparations for the continental and international tournaments following the resolution of its leadership tussle. That's on sports. Do stay with us.